All right, what's going on, folks? This is another episode of the VF Cast. I am VF Baller, and I got a lot of things going on, but you know, I keep everything in the loop for you guys so you guys can continue to get this content as much as possible. VF Cast channel, the First and Frame Rates channel. I'm doing a lot over here, and it's all motivation because of you guys. You guys have come through and watch and listen and do all this other good stuff. It is so amazing to know that you guys just take the time out your day to watch this information and all this good stuff. And I want to give you the best content possible. I try my best. I really do try my best. I haven't been putting much content over here lately because I've been busy. I went out of town as well. So if you've been watching anything on the other channel, the First and Frame Rates channel, you would know that I was in Atlanta. I got this hat, World Series champions, the Braves. We won the World Series. Awesome feeling. And it's just been a good time just to get away for a while and just do something that you love doing. That's very important, and how does that relate to this channel? How does that relate to this this hobby I have of gaming? Well, today I want to talk about that. I think back in episode 17, I talked about, gaming and dealing with life. Episode 17 of the VF Cast, I talked about that, and I want to bring that back to the forefront because first of all, you can't talk about that enough. You can't talk about dealing with things in your life and or mental health or whatever the case may be. You can't get enough of talking about that because we need that perspective to stay on point, to stay in the realm of being focused and having things on the right track, because it's easy to with things going on the way it is, it's very easy to get out of that lane where things feel like it's just not going right, or this, that, and the third is going left, and things that you think that you're doing right could go wrong, and it's very tough. It's very tough dealing with things that's in front of you. And life's not easy. I don't care what kind of status you are. You can have all the money in the world. You could be poor as dirt and you can still have the same problems. How do I escape that? What do I do to get around those type of things? Well, what you see behind me, this is my safe haven. I love playing video games. I love collecting video games. And I've been having a little dilemma with that as well, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but this is my safe space. The things I do at work, I guess I can open up a little bit. If you don't know already, I drive trucks for a living, and dealing with that, watching people on the road, dealing with that type of equipment on a daily basis, that in itself is nerve-wracking. Now you want to flip that. I come home, I'm with my wife. We do things together. Definitely, she's a big help with the motivation of me just being a father and a husband. And she helps so much. The world just don't know how much she is, valuable to me. Now, when you flip over and you look at my son, he wants so much of my attention, and I don't mind giving it to him. Me and him was playing last night until we both fell asleep. We just traveled back from Atlanta. As soon as we got home, he wanted to play because we just got back home and he's back in familiar territory. He's just a bundle of joy. I love everything about him. And so with all of that going on, I don't have time much for myself, because on top of that, I do this content, and doing this content is phenomenal. And when it comes to live streaming, talking about sports, talking about the pickups that I have, it's always it's always a good time doing this type of stuff. It really is. But when it comes to myself and how I feel, I do have my moments. I have my moments where I'm like, man, I'm not able to do things for me or have, personal fun or whatever. Don't get me wrong, playing with my son, it's, that's awesome. I love doing that. But I don't have the moments to where I could just, okay, I'm going to sit down and focus on something that I want to do. This is behind me. This is where this comes in, because no matter what happens, my wife could be going out doing her thing. My son could be at daycare or at school. This up here is where I have my moments to clear my mind, clear my head, and keep myself in the right frame of mind. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't have. I recently looked at the situation with wide receiver Calvin Ridley, and he's taking a leave of absence from the Atlanta Falcons due to mental health issues, and we see this all the time. I'm not going to sit here and say I know what's going on with him, because nobody knows. He deals with that on himself. But you talking to me right now, me talking to you right now in front of, on this on this episode, or on YouTube, or wherever else you can catch this at. We need to start looking at things before it gets to that point. And I'm not, it's not the way me faulting, Calvin Ridley or anybody else who's going through mental health crises or issues, because they probably have gone that route. But right now, if you may be looking at things the way it is now, you may be looking at other situations that's in front of you, like I do. We need to find a way to keep ourselves maintained and focused, because there's so many things that can trigger things out of whack to the point where we feel like we're overwhelmed, we can't handle it, our mental health is out of whack, and it's really tough. Like I said, when it comes to the gaming side, let's talk about that. When it comes to the gaming side, I love just sitting back and just playing video games. It really gets me away from all the things that I have to deal with. In some cases, it helped me figure out problems that I have. A lot of people look at these video games and they look at it from a situation where it's it's just a waste of time, or why are you doing that, or you're not getting in, you're not doing anything productive. You have no idea how much these devices behind me, or this computer that's in front of me, or saved lives. I mean, literally saved lives. People have gone so many different directions in their life because of these devices. And I know gaming may not be for you. If you're here and you're listening to it, it may not be for you, but there's other hobbies out there that will pretty much can steer the direction of your life if you're willing to, embrace it and take it on, and figure out what avenues you can take. Even with all the things I got going on, I could literally just be somewhat of a robot, just doing so much for everybody. And that's my role as a provider, as a husband, as a father, doing so much for everybody because they depend on me, and I depend on them for them to be happy. If they're not happy, I'm not happy. And I do so much for them, where we all as humans need to have some type of self gratification. And this is where I find it at. I find it here, and some people aren't able to. Like when I'm not making this whole thing about Calvin Ridley, but when you look at people in general that has so much on their plates, other YouTubers, other people who stream on Twitch, people who are athletes, people who are in a profession where they're pulled in so many different directions, they don't have time for themselves. And in some cases, when that becomes the point that they don't have time for themselves, they could lash out at any moment. In some cases, the way people lash out, it could be a situation where they clam up. They go into a shell where you can't talk to them. And in some cases, it could be too late for them to get not only just help, but get into some places where they can talk to someone. Or when they do talk to someone, it just feels like it's not really a help, because of the fact that they're so far gone and so far dwelled into what they're doing or what they're not doing. It could be a really big hole to dig yourself out of. So for me, I want to give you some ideas, or some things that you can do to help, even if you're not even dealing with it, because we all have our problems, we all have our backslides, we all have our difficult situations, to where we can feel like we just having one of those days, and it's like, man, forget it. I just can't deal with this. I can't. One thing you can do, let's go start here. One thing you can do when you do feel like you're overwhelmed, sometimes you just need to drop some things, let some things go. You feel like you need to do this and it's very important, and I gotta do this. Sometimes it's not. Even so, in some cases, that could be a hobby of yours that you may like doing. Sometimes you may have to drop that hobby or habit, which I'm not even gonna go there. That's a whole different issue when dealing with habits. And I'm not professional to even talk about what I'm talking about now. I'm not a professional to talk about what I'm talking about now, but I know I'm not a professional to talk about that. But I'm just telling you from my experience of what I've done. Sometimes you have to drop some habits. I'm really big into music, just like I am into this gaming. I'm really big into collecting sports memorabilia, just like I am into gaming. I had to slice some of that off. I've kind of got myself detached from buying new music and listening to new music and trying to follow that whole genre of hobbies to the point where I just listen to the older stuff that I have and not try to get into the newer stuff because I feel like the gaming side of stuff is more interesting to me. Sports memorabilia. I love sports memorabilia. I love buying, helmets, jerseys. I love buying, cards, pictures, all this other stuff. I love that stuff, but I had to get away from that because even though the sports stuff is tied to my content, keeping up with that stuff and trying to follow that stuff it's gotten overwhelming. My common denominator is this gaming stuff, and I love the gaming stuff. I'm more comfortable talking about sports than actually trying to buy a bunch of other collectibles. I think when it comes to collectibles, I think the gaming stuff is like what is where it stops. Even when it comes to music, I'll probably get the music on the digital level or I'll stream the music, and that's more of a compromise to me. So getting rid of certain hobbies could, and or habits, which I'm not going to go into the habit part because that's beyond my expertise. I mean, I'm not even an expert on this, but I'm just telling you how I take on things. Finding a way to get rid of some of that stuff will change your outlook on things and the way you think about things exponentially. Way more. It would change so much in so much of a bigger aspect of your life. You will be able to change and see things. Another thing you want to do is just find more positive things to do. Now, I'm not saying you're doing anything negative or people are doing negative things. It's just that the more positivity you have in your life, the better it is. In some cases, people feel like I can't do anything positive because everything in my life is in shambles or everything that I'm doing is just going wrong. I can't figure this out. I'm going to tell you something that somebody told me, and this works out very well in my favor. When you feel down, when you feel bad, or you feel like you can't get anywhere in your path of life, find a way to do good things for others. And I know that's a level of selflessness that some people may not have or never ever tapped into. But when you find to do good things for others, just because just naturally it just makes you feel better. There's sometimes where, I'm not going to, point people out or say anybody's names or whatever the case may be. That's not the way I roll. But there's people that I've just done nice things for just because. Just doing it. Just do something because, they, in some cases, they may be in need or they just may not need anything, but just going out your way to say, hey, I just want to check on you. How you doing? I may not be feeling the best, but it'd be cool if I know that you're doing well. And so some people, it just makes them, it makes someone's day when you do things like that. And if you can make someone's day in return, it'll make you feel good. Maybe not in the beginning, but in the long run, it will. I promise you it will. Just for doing nice things for other people, just checking on people, even if it's a family, friend, or a stranger. I mean, look, I'm going to get into this in a minute. This thing right here, you see a picture of me and my wife, picture of me and my wife, picture of me and my wife. Okay. A picture of me and my wife. All right. This thing right here this is a double-edged sword. I will say this. Hell, even being on the internet is double-edged, but this thing here, I'm going to talk about this in a second. This is a double-edged sword, seriously. But we're on Twitter all the time. We're on Facebook. We're on any other Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're watching stuff on Rumble. We're watching stuff on all these other type of platforms where you can watch, people go about their daily lives. Any of your followers, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't hurt just to go through and say, hey, man, I'm checking on you. How you doing? I see you haven't tweeted in a while. I just want to say how you doing. I see you tweeting some things that's a little bit on the negative side. You may be going through some stuff. Just let you know I'm praying for you. And I don't know how you feel religiously, or you don't even have to say praying. Just say I'm thinking about you. You don't know how much that feels to someone to read that on the other end of a direct message or any type of post that you put out there. I'm not saying this to tout my horn or anything like this, because it's happened to me. People have come to me and told me that, hey man, I'm just checking on you. That actually felt good. That actually felt great. And for people to sit here and have going through things and just send them a message. Hey man, I saw you tweeting the other day. You haven't tweeted in a couple of days. You may be busy. I just want to let you know that, I'm thinking about you, all is well, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes just doing good deeds for people. If you see somebody in need, if you can do it, do it. And it doesn't always mean it has to be a monetary value or anything like that. Just doing something nice for them. Like, hey, I found this information on getting this, and this. Maybe you could check this out or whatever. They may not know what's going on with a certain situation, and they may need some help with it. Just helping them out instead of just scrolling and going to the next thing that, for us, we do this. To find something that makes us laugh throughout the day. I mean, that's just how it is. But, just sometimes you could just find a way to be nice to people sometimes. Being nice to someone, even when you're going through some BS, it will help you in the long run. I firmly believe that, and I'll stick with it. I really believe that it does. When it comes to these phones, these things are a double-edged sword, because you can get a lot of good information off of here, and sometimes you get some bad situations on here. My main thing is just try to surround yourself with good people through social media. Try to find good things to look at through your phone. Use your phone to communicate with people on a positive level. Also, we get back to gaming. There's some games on your phone that can actually, actually change your outlook on things, give you a positive outlook on stuff. Sometimes games can make you think about things that you never thought about before. People, like I said, people look at games in a different light. They look at it at a negative connotation, but gaming saves people's lives. They really can. Now, we all know the bad stuff about it. You hear about Columbine, you hear about all this other stuff. Or, you got these crazy kids that want to shoot up schools because you hear about, they are influenced by games. But, those aren't the type of games I'm talking about, because there are games out here that make you feel violent. They are. I don't care what anybody says that's the case. But there are games out here that makes you feel like you can solve any problem. There are games out there that make you feel like you can do whatever you can set your mind to. And that's the type of game I like. This is one of the reasons why I love playing sports titles, because some of these sports titles, they are thinking man's game at sometimes. Sometimes I like to play action adventure games because they are thinking man game at sometimes. I like to play on different difficulties to give me a challenge. You want to play games to give you a challenge. This is one reason why I don't too much care for newer games now. I like playing games that tell a story. I don't too much care for games that tell a story. I want a game that challenges me. And if a game challenges me, that's what keeps me interested. Not necessarily, I'm here for the story. The story is great. And, it's no different than watching a television show. It's no different than watching a movie. It's no different than watching a Let's Play of somebody doing something. It's just, to me, it's just not ideal for me to do those type of things. So that's another way with these phones, tablets, iPads, any type of communication to the outside world as far as the internet goes. It's very easy to be subdued with that, but it's also a very good thing if you can find, some type of problem solving skills. Because like I said, mental health is good and bad. People look at mental health and they think it's just all bad. I'm going through it. Things ain't going right. I want to do this. I want to do that. I feel like I'm trapped in a maze. But there's also good mental health. And good mental health is knowing that you feel good about yourself, knowing that you are, at one with yourself, where you feel like you feel empowered to do so much, where you're not letting outside forces take you down, where this world has so much going on with, injustices, problems with, with the work, politics, all the stuff is going on. When you feel one with yourself and you feel confident in what you're doing, when you step out every day, when you step out of that bed, when you go out to your job, when you're out looking for a job, or when you out here just, finding things to do within the world, whether, just gaining information or playing these video games or finding things to do that is positive for others. When you find those things, that's in your line or is in your path of life, you know, those things could really give you great mental health. And those things are very important. It's very important. It's to me, you know, when I made this channel, I always wanted to be, you know, the voice of a gamer. That's the title of, that's the subtitle of this channel. But when it comes to just being the voice of a gamer is not somebody who just plays on play video games all the time. We have feelings too. We have things that we deal with as well. We have things that we go through on a daily basis. But to me, for me, with my family, my son, you know, my wife, you know, all my friends, you know, all the people that I've dealt with, you guys as well, that listen and watch not only here but on the First Frame Rates channel, you know, all of this comes back to me finding my safe haven, finding my frame of mind, finding my peace, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent to others. To me, I feel like good mental health is just as important and is just as big of a thing as the bad side of mental health. And when you have your mental health in order, all it means is that you're living mentally on the right path. You're feeling good. You know, everything comes that oozes out of you as far as your vibe, your energy is good. And I hope I'm able to reach everybody that listens to me and find that positivity in your life where it comes to mental health, and not only, you know, just for yourself, but others as well, because this can be very infectious. Learning about yourself and being positive with yourself can be very, very infectious, where the next person could feel it, and that person could touch 3 people, then those 3 people could touch 3 more people, you know, because we're never going to get away. And I'm going to close in a second. We're never going to get away the negative side of life. We're never going to get away from it. Dealing with the negative side of life is very important on becoming successful, becoming happy, being happy, maintaining happiness in life. So you're never going to run away from it. But the main thing is you want to carry that vibe, that energy, you know, whatever you have going on internally, trying to find your way to fight those battles, wherever it be a hobby or a habit, find a way to overcome that. And for me, I always can come up here and resort to this, playing these games, having fun, you know, getting away from life, and implementing what my getaway from life back into my life, to where I can continue to be a positive example for others, because it's very difficult to do so. But once you start getting that ball rolling, it becomes easier and easier by the day. And I hope that you guys are able to do the same. No matter what you're going through, it's always going to get better. No matter what, it's always going to get better. But it's all on you to take that first step. And I believe you can do it, because I do it every day. And that's pretty much what I have to say about that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the VF Cast. I know I just did a video about the sports games and the dynasties and all this other stuff, all the pickups I'm doing, which I'm going to probably do a pickup video tomorrow. Probably going to be going out later on today. Like I said, it's a part of my hobby. Going to look at some more games to pick up and see what I find out here in these streets. It's always a good time when I do that. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. You guys are awesome. I really feel that you guys are awesome. I mean, I don't know everybody, but the ones who come listen, if this is your first time listening, I really appreciate it. You are awesome. You will be the best you can be, no matter what happens. Just follow what makes you happy. Follow what is positive, and you guys will be successful. All right, y'all. I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Do a pickup video. And I'll be doing the top 5 as well tomorrow. All right, y'all. Y'all be blessed. Peace.